I'm going to just change the view so I can see what's happening on the screen. Okay. Hi, everyone. I know everybody's turned off their videos, so I'm not looking at anyone right now. First of all, Ernest is going to make a brief review about the Open Meeting Law, Open Meeting Act, OMA. There are certain things that we're required to do as a committee under the state. We have to post the agenda, we have to post minutes. I don't know what he plans to say, but I know he's asked for some time. He'll make comments after I do the opening, and then I'll go back to chairing this meeting. Also, Bethany shared that there are some people who are low vision who would like to have a maximum of 4 of us on screen at one time. In the last meeting, we were talking about communication. People were saying they wanted all the videos open because then the committee members could all see each other and get a take on each other. Communication would be open. Also, we have the 2 interpreters tonight. Some committee members had requested a certified deaf interpreter to do clarification, not to do all of the interpretation, but to come in and clarify if need be. So I have concerns about 2 things. This is from my point of view. We had already agreed on communication, but now we have to make a change given this new request. I definitely want to respect what the committee members have said they want, but at the same point, we need to have complete access, of course. And the second point is, if we only have 4, and one of them is the interpreter, and if we have a CDI in the future meetings, because there was no CDI available tonight, 2 of those slots would be taken up by interpreters. That would mean there'd only be 2 people from the committee. I'd be here as the facilitator and then another speaker. Everybody else would not be able to see each other at the same time if we're limiting to 4. So I wanted to throw out the idea that when we first open, right now, as we're opening, I just wanted to get a sense of what the committee members, how you want to approach communication because of this change. I would prefer to have all the screens open. I think deaf people want to be able to see everyone, and especially for us to get into in-depth discussion and turn taking. I think it's easier if we can all see each other. I get it, yes. And I can see in the chat, Talia posted saying she was flexible. So either way we go with the open screens or people being closed, except for 4, Talia will agree with. Are there any other comments before we go forward? Tina's saying she will follow the lead of the deaf parties, what their preference is. Drew, yes. I think if people who are participating with low vision have an issue, I mean, it benefits people that only have 4. And I think that that might be less distracting. I'm fine with that if that's the issue. It can affect even people with normal vision. Other comments? Hearing none. Let's it seems like there's some preferences from some deaf people saying they want to have all the video cameras open, but then we have the needs of people with low vision. And I'm not exactly sure how to resolve it. I'm torn because I would say for tonight, I would propose that we go forward with the 4 and move forward that way for now. And if there is a discussion about other possible ideas about what we could do to resolve this issue, I encourage people to keep talking about it, because I want the committee to all feel connected, and we're not in person. So that becomes difficult. If we were all in person, we'd all be able to visually see each other and see each other's responses. Here we're disconnected already because we're not in a room together. I can't see you. I feel like, I'm not connected to you. I can't visually connect with you. So I don't have an answer or the answer, but my suggestion to go forward tonight would be to limit it to 4 screens open at any given time. And then if there's other thoughts about different ways we could do to make sure that we all feel connected, we can use those in future meetings. If people disagree and have a strong feeling about it, you could either open your screen and make a comment or put it in the chat. And I want to give people time to address that currently now. If not, let's move forward. It seems like it's required, at least for access right now. I'll give you a minute to see if anybody wants to make a comment. No, it seems like unless somebody's typing, I will check the chat and make sure that no comments appear while I'm continuing. But if you want to add it to the agenda to continue the discussion, I'm happy to do so. I think that's something worth revisiting. And I know that members have talked about wanting open access to each other and being able to view each other. So I want to respect both visual access and also the opportunity for each, and especially the deaf members, to be able to view each other. So we'll keep it open as a topic to discuss. So moving on, I'm going to turn the floor over to Ernest, who wants to speak about the Open Meeting Act. And then it'll come back to me and I'll share the agenda. Ernest is saying hi. Nice to see everyone again. And thank you for your explanation of this situation. I know it's an issue. I mean, we're being recorded too. And what I've noticed is when the public is watching the recording later and there's many screens a bit open, it's difficult to see because they're all small. So I want to have people be comfortable with the discussion and also have access. So the other thing I wanted to speak about tonight is the Open Meeting Act. There are 2 things that need to be explained, and this committee has been following them, so that's not an issue. One thing that has come up, though, is if you're having a discussion by email and it hasn't been publicly notified or we're not aware of it, that's not okay. It should be scheduled ahead of time because it is a group discussion. It is basically like a committee meeting. And those discussions should be held until you're actually in meetings. If you have an email, please CC me so that I can make sure that our conversations are transparent to the public. If you're emailing about schedule, about interpreter requests, that's fine. But if you have questions related to the committee, those should be held until the time that we actually have a committee meeting to discuss them openly. Scheduling is fine. You can talk about when's the meeting or when we need to have another meeting, but any other topic needs to be held till the public meeting. The other thing is, if you have a question or concern, you can email Rain. Rain will redirect it to me and I can respond. It's important that if there's something that you need to know, that Rain and I are in contact with each other, she being the chair and me being the executive director of the Rhode Island Commission, you can't be discussing content among yourselves. So I just want to be clear about that, how that affects email with the Open Meeting Act. The second thing is, we have a commissioner from the Rhode Island Commission for the Deaf. That's Drew Balsley. She is an acting commissioner, and she's also a member of this committee. And some of the other commissioners spoke to me this week, and they said that they wanted to be able to vote on certain, the commission board of directors will vote on certain things. You as a committee will make recommendations. Drew will bring those back to the full commission. And the commission will make those decisions and vote on them. So if the ad hoc committee wants to move forward on a topic, we will review it, vote on it, and bring that back to you. So Drew is liaison between the commission and your committee. She would let you know what our board made a decision about the next meeting, whether we approved it or did not. You cannot vote yourselves. I mean, you can have a strong recommendation, you can collect information, and then there'd be a report back to the full commission. The commission would give approval, and it would come back to you as a committee to act on that. So anything related to a vote, let's say you want to make certain changes in the agenda, you can discuss those things, but you can't vote ahead of time before the commission makes that decision. I hope that's clear, because the commissioners talk to me about that. They want to make sure that everything is transparent and goes through the right channels. Amy? Yeah, I do have a question, Amy's saying. My understanding of the vlog that Tim posted on the commission's website on Facebook, it speaks about Tina being the representative of the commission, and that Drew is a deaf representative from the community, not from the commission. Oh my gosh, you're right. It is Tina. It is Tina. And Rain is saying, sorry, just give a little more time for the turn taking so that the interpreter can catch it. Amy, could you repeat what you were just saying? Yes. So I just wanted clarification. My understanding is on that vlog that was posted on Facebook, the commissioners, we needed to have representatives, 2 people who were deaf, 1 person who was hard of hearing, 1 person from the RIRID, 1 person from the RIAD. That constitutes the committee. And my understanding is that Drew and I were the 2 representatives of the deaf community. And then Tina Nelson is the representative of the commission, and that she would be the liaison between the commission and the committee. I'm asking for clarification. Yes, let me clarify. Drew and Tina are both commissioners. They're both acting commissioners right now on RICDHH's board. So both of them could bring information back to share with the commission. But yes, your point is that Drew is the representative of the deaf community. And I just want to double check with Drew. Are you actually dual representative of both the Commission for the Deaf and the deaf community? Thank you. If you would just clarify that. Drew is saying, I joined this committee as a deaf representative, but I could have a dual role because I'm on the commission. If I was thinking maybe Tina could be the official point person, but if for some reason she couldn't make it to, let's say, the next meeting to bring the information back, I could be the backup. I think that would be helpful, perhaps. I'm going to turn my video off, Amy's saying. Amy, wouldn't you mind? Well, okay, sorry, that's fine. You turned off, that's fine. I just want to go back a little bit to clarify who are the representatives in the committee and who are those in the commission. It seems like it's an issue to do with the commission, not with the committee. We don't need to have, that's not a huge issue for us. Who's going to carry the information back to the commission? We know that you, Drew, and Tina are already commissioners. So you basically automatically already have a dual role because you are representing the deaf community. And of course, you're a commissioner. You can't not be a commissioner just because you're on this committee. So you have that role. And the people at the commission, they can pick a liaison, a formal liaison. It could be either Tina, it could be Drew, it could be both of you in tandem. I'll accept whatever they suggest. They can clarify it, but it's really more of their issue. And I would suggest that they do that. We don't need to get into that here. But I also wanted to clarify with Ernest the 2 points that he made. And thank you, Drew. I appreciate your comment. So Ernest, I just wanted to clarify. Yes, thank you. The 2 points you brought up. The first, I wanted to make sure that I understood your point. If I could repeat it, and then if you could correct me if I'm incorrect. Because of the Open Meeting Act, we are not allowed to discuss things outside of public meetings, except for scheduling, booking. Okay, so, and he's saying yes. So if we were discussing something, for example, let's say we had the agenda drawn up and we have the notes that we sent through email and we included everybody. We also CC'd you, but Tina was also included. Everybody was included because they all needed to read that. That is okay under OMA because everybody in the committee must know that. And then we have having a public meeting, but we're not having private discussion about something. And if there's anybody who does not know that, it's now clear. So as Ernest has already presented about OMA in the past to us, if there are any questions about abiding by OMA, or if you don't know if a certain activity is okay or not, let's say Tina and I are talking about something, we could include you and say, is this okay? And then the commission could say, oh yes, that's fine. That's just about scheduling. But just, we might want to check in with you from time to time. But if we have an issue, I just wanted to, what like recently happened, you were saying, and I wasn't clear about that. Oh, Ernest is saying the group was talking about interpretive requests. And that's where I got concerned. No, Rain is saying that didn't happen. That did not happen. What I did was I emailed everybody out. You saw the email because I CC'd you. Some people had directly contacted me and said that they had preferred interpreters or that they wanted a CDI. I knew that information, so I let you know. And you said, that's fine. That kind of communication is fine on the committee. So if a person has a preference or an interpreter that they prefer not to have, or that they feel like they want to have a CDI, they should be able to contact me as the chair. And I would then say, different committee members have requested this and pass that on to you. That is what happened. Yes, access is important for sure. So that's what happened. And I encourage people, if you have an issue, they could contact referral directly, but people are not always comfortable doing so to talk about their preferences. And so then I would say, as you saw my email, I said to people, you can direct it to me and then I will pass that on to Ernest, or you can contact interpreter referral at the commission yourself directly. So both of those options follow OMA. Yes, that's correct. From my understanding, at least, Rain's saying, nobody has done anything that opposes OMA up till now. I just want to be clear that everybody on the committee is aware that we have been following OMA policies and procedures, that we have access issues or we need something related to access, whatever that is, people can contact referral directly or Ernest, people in the office. There's a lot of diversity on the committee, and people don't want to be, they don't want to say to the entire committee, this is what I need, or this is what I prefer. So I want to be clear about that. And Ernest is saying, yes. So that's the first point. Now, the second point, you saw my answer to Drew. If, for example, Drew becomes liaison to the commission from the ad hoc committee, or Tina, or they're alternating. We're fine with whichever. It seems like there's some confusion about the roles, but I would suggest that the commission discusses that and makes a decision. Once they clarify, all they have to do is let the committee know, and we'll follow and abide by whatever that is. That's fine, Ernest is saying. So you can report back to the commission. I was just a little confused when you were speaking about, it looks like we cannot do anything until the commission gets approval. No. As a facilitator, what you just explained was clear. Oh, as a liaison, they just report back to the commission. They're reporting to the commission. They're saying the committee, this is what we're working on, that kind of thing. Yes, that one point, yes. But the other thing is, let's say you wanted to make a proposal of some sort, you had a recommendation, you would tell the commission, and the commission could vote officially. Your committee can't vote and move forward on something without our vote. So if you have something in your minds that you want to put forward, we would make a decision and vote and either approve it or turn it down, and then it would go back to the committee for action. Okay, so that vote would be related to an action item that we want. I understand an action item. That's clear, and I think everybody on the committee is clear with that, hopefully. That we can make recommendations to the full commission. That we're not establishing anything in our role. You know, they are the ones who are making the decision. And they can say, we approve this, or we don't approve that, or we want this changed slightly. But if we vote on an agenda item or what to recommend, we make those decisions, right? We discuss that and vote that is something we're going to bring to the commission. Ernest is saying that's correct. That's correct. You're right. All right, because what it looked like you said, it said something about the agenda or something. I just wanted to be clear that everybody on the committee knows that we can make certain decisions about our work, but that once we've collected information and we've gotten the results of certain surveys about what people's needs are or feedback, and we have a sense of a model that we want to, put forward, we're free to do all of that work, but the final decision is the commission. We come together with a report. It did seem like it was not clear, so now it is clear. Thank you, Ernest is saying. So Rain saying, if everything is clear, if anybody else on the committee wants to make a comment, or do you all feel like you're clear about where we are right now? I'll give everybody a minute. So I'm not hearing any comment at this point. Obviously, if people did want to speak, they could open their camera. And I'm assuming that that means it's clear. So Ernest is saying, thank you so much for bringing that discussion, and I will turn off my camera now. Tina's saying, thanks for the clarification. She just wrote that in the chat. All right, very good. Thanks. All right. So now we're starting the official meeting. We're going to go to our agenda. We have several options. If we are sharing the screen, the interpreter's box will be reduced. And if we're side-by-side gallery, it'll be me, Rain, and the interpreter with screen sharing. And some people are saying they don't want to have spotlighting. I know that I've heard that comment and that feedback before. So should I share screen? Should I do screen sharing with the agenda at this point and move forward with that? People can give the thumbs up or thumbs down. I see Amy. Amy's saying, go for it. Okay. Because I can't see people, I can't see if people are nodding or shaking their head or thumbs up. I'm not getting the feedback I would usually. I feel like I'm totally disconnected here from your responses. But yes, with the agenda, Bethany can screen share it for us now.
I apologize. Give me one moment.
We don't want to have spotlighting. Okay. So, oops, how did that happen?
So what happens if I don't spotlight the signer, then whoever is voicing is shown in the picture with the screen share when we do the recording. So whoever's signing needs to be spotlighted. That's why I said I can either put up the agenda and everyone can have a chance to look at it, or and I can close it, or I can spotlight you with the agenda. How would you like to proceed?
Okay, I see what you're saying. Why don't we go forward and show the agenda and spotlight, because I'm going to be the person signing mostly, obviously. And then if there's anybody who has an issue with that, they can send it to me in the chat and let me know. And, you know, if it's not working, let me know. And we're going to switch interpreters also at this point. So I'm going to close my video and Simon can open his.
Okay, I know that you can't see the top, but that's just general information up there. That's good. That's a lot better. Thank you. Okay, so number one is going to be the roll call. Okay, we kind of sort of did the roll call, but it wasn't really official. So I don't know if we should officially do the roll call. Tina is going to be taking notes for today's evening's meeting. Isn't that correct, Tina? I hope so. So what is the best way to do the roll call for Tina? Tina, do you just want to see who's on the in the meeting and then take their names? You want to do it that way? Maybe I could just take their names down as they show up on the screen. I don't know. That's a suggestion, you know, but it's going to be included in the transcript anyway. Okay, Tina, I'm fine with that. Okay, so the second item on the agenda is public comments at this time. So for anyone who's not on the committee that would like to make a comment at this time, may do so now. I did see, I think perhaps maybe one or two people who are not on the committee that are present for this meeting. So anyone who wants to make a comment, that is the time to do so. And then afterwards, and then we'll start going through with the agenda as well. And then we'll open the public comments. So let's hold off on public comments for a second. The third item is going to be the minutes. We'll have to review them for approval. And that was the one that was just recently sent out to everyone. It was really a short meeting because of the fact that it started with Ernest And as I've been doing it historically, and then we started proceeding, then there weren't many notes taking place at that time. So I hope you had a chance to see that. And then we can vote whether we should approve the minutes as written or not. And the fourth agenda is the chairperson. I believe when you say the chair, you're talking about the committee reports, correct? Because there's a word missing there. It should be another word in conjunction with chair. And the fifth item is going to be unfinished business or old business. And that was already discussed the last time we were at the meeting where we probably left off. So we want to figure out if we want to, send out some more stuff, et cetera, if we have unfinished business. The sixth item will be new business. And then at that time, we can proceed with new business at that time. You can bring it up, please. Thank you. Okay. Now, I wanted to have a second item there for public comment. And the reason why, because after discussion, people will have an opportunity to make a comment about that. Because I've noticed that sometimes when we have comments and then we close the meeting, people want to address something at that time and they have to wait to the next time, so this way they can have a second opportunity. Now, we also want to set up a date and time because, we haven't been doing it by email. So I think we should set up a date and time before we close the meeting from this evening. And then after that, we'll adjourn the meeting, okay? So that is what the items are on our agenda for this evening. I think there's something else. Oh, new business is included. Okay, so that's now a new name and so forth. It's got a new name attached to that. So what we can do is now, at this moment, I would like to open it up for public comment. Is there anyone out there who is not on the committee or the commission at this time that would like to make a comment? I can't see you. Hold on one second. Bonnie Kaplan, go ahead. Yes. Hi, good evening, everyone. My only concern is that the committee could have a little bit of a breakdown if the committee doesn't feel confident enough to speak openly and honestly in front of all of us, and especially in front of the commission. Because if they can't articulate or express themselves without trust, then what is the point of having this committee, this ad hoc committee? So I'm concerned that this may hold people back from opening up, saying what they want to say. We need to know that this is truly an opportunity to be open and honest, but there will be issues that come up. And so as I'm watching, I don't want, anybody on the committee or the commission to be wasting their time, or wasting their voice and then listening to people and then just throwing everything under the rug and not taking heed to what people are saying. Because this has been going on for years and years and years. And this practice really needs to stop. We need an opportunity for change to be able to be in a safe place where we can all speak open and honestly for the benefit of the community. I work with many people out there, and many people have expressed their concerns that the commission never listens to us. And this cannot continue to go on. And so I just wanted to take this opportunity to put that out there. Thank you. Okay, so I just want to be clear, Bonnie. Are you spotlighting on someone?
I am not right now, no. I was asked by a participant to spotlight Bonnie when she was speaking.
Okay, because right now I see a black screen and I think that the wrong person was spotlighted. That's why I asked. Right now, Simon is spotlighted and shouldn't be. There we go. Thank you. The problem is when we spotlight, sometimes people don't like spotlighting because of the fact that the person who is signing is not being viewed. So I wasn't sure if people could see Bonnie. Okay, so I wanted to open up and I actually had to pin Bonnie so that I could see her myself personally. And then I saw somebody chatting saying that they wanted Bonnie to be spotlighted, which is fine. And that's great. But then when that comment was over and we went back, there was a disconnect there and the spotlighting feature was a little skewed. Because right now the interpreter is the only one speaking right now. Okay, so I want it to be clear so that everyone can see me, okay? Bonnie Kaplan. Bonnie, I want to thank you for your comment. And I did take notes to myself, what you just commented on. And I will include that in the official notes. And Tina will actually also follow up with that. Now, I personally, as a chairperson, you know, I'm looking forward to see how we can make improvements in that area. One way I would like to do is to have, you know, a second open, you know, public comment, more opportunities, because it'll show that we really, really want to have the opportunity for people to express their concerns and comments. Now, the people on this committee, and then we have people from the commission as well. And I can certainly understand about the mistrust, maybe. They may not feel comfortable. Or people in the community may not trust the commission because of what's been going on in past years' practice. So how we can prove that? I think that, Bonnie, if you have some ideas, please feel free to share them with the commission and anybody else in the public that has, you know, some ideas or something. And it could be among the committee members as well. And we could add that to the agenda. Now, one thing that the commission has asked us to do is to gather information from the community. For example, Bonnie, you work with a lot of people out there in the community, you know, various people in the community who are vulnerable populations and so forth. And as you gather their information and their comments, always, you know, give the encouragement that you're going to take this information back to the commission. However, you do have to let us know here at the committee as well for the ad hoc committee. Okay, you can do that as well. Because some people may not feel comfortable, and that's understandable. So we rely on people bringing information back to us who are out there with the stakeholders. So continue that feedback, Bonnie. We appreciate that. Now let's have something else for another open comment. Anybody else would like to say something at this time? No other comments at this time? I don't want to cut anybody off short because I know sometimes it takes a little delay for the transcription. We will have a second. Oh, Bonnie, you'd like to say something? Okay, hold on one second. Spotlight.
Is this okay to spotlight both of you?
Yes, that works. Okay, I just wanted to follow up what Rain just said about the community's trust and sharing their concerns. To be honest with all of you, from what I'm hearing, you know, they're tired. They're tired of reaching out because they feel that they're being ignored. And it's really impacted them to the point where they've gotten to the point where they've given up, but they haven't forgotten. So I'm just hoping that some action is going to be taking place. How and where and when and what it's going to look like. People are really at the point that they're exhausted. They feel that they've been asking for, many years about their issues, and they've been ignored year after year after year. And people are at the point where they don't care anymore. And they don't feel comfortable enough where they can express themselves now. Now, I know that I can reach out to the commission and remind them, that, follow up with the interpreters and so forth. Other issues that come up besides interpreting is that the commission doesn't really advocate for access to communication. They have their mission statement that professes that they advocate for that, but they don't seem to act upon it. So our clients look at us and say, will you advocate for me for access to communication? And I will. And I say, yes, of course we will. But it's not in our job description and in the jobs that we work out here in the community. But they need it. Because if nobody else is going to do it, who's going to advocate for them? And that's all I really want to say, but I hope I drove home the point, because the point is that basically people are really tired. They're fed up. And their attitudes have changed. They've lost their motivation. And to be honest with you, Rain, people are at the point where they don't care whether the commission, exists anymore if it collapses. Because you look at the Massachusetts Commission, they've made some tremendous changes. They've taken action. They have, created vlogs. They're creating, access to communication about the pandemic. They're on top of everything. And here in Rhode Island, we got a few things about how to advocate for, communication or access to communication. There's nothing there. There should be vlogs about that or about referrals. Other than that, it's kind of stagnant. Thank you, Rain. Thank you, BK. I really appreciate that. And if you have specific items or specific things that have happened that you want to report to the committee here at the ad hoc, feel free to do that at all times. We are accessible. Because the commission has already asked us to gather this information. And if you have any ideas how we can show improvement or make improvements, even as it applies to the grievance procedure, for example, you talk about the vlogs, how we can explain self-advocacy. We're missing that. You're right, we don't have that. Okay, so that's an example of where we can improve upon that. So keep those comments coming in so we can continue to have these open discussions. Thank you. Okay. Any other public comments, open comments? No? I think we're good for now. Okay. Next on, do you mind, Bethany, posting the agenda again, please?
Yes, give me one moment.
I believe the next item was unfinished business. And that is going to require the committee members. Hold on one second as we post this. It's a little small, Bethany. Can you enlarge that a little bit? It was much larger previously. The minutes, okay. So the committee members, have you had an opportunity to read the minutes? If so, you can respond to your comments through the chat box or open up your videos. Either one is fine. Just stating that you haven't read it or you have read it. I'm trying to get a feel for how many people have read the minutes from the previous meeting. Okay, we have somebody who said they haven't had the opportunity to read the minutes yet. I know Tina has already read the minutes because she recorded the minutes. And I have read them myself personally. Now, I'd like to ask everybody, did everybody get the minutes? Amy said that she hasn't received the minutes. Interesting. Tina? Did you just say something, Tina? No, just that I did read the minutes. Oh, okay. Okay, so you understood because you wrote the minutes. Okay. Okay. Some information coming in the chat box. It seems that some people have not received the minutes. Okay, so maybe we should hold off on the minutes for now to figure out why, or perhaps maybe, I don't know what the rules are at the moment because I don't have the rules in front of me. But I'm wondering if we can send them the minutes after the meeting today for approval or not. I don't know if that can be done, or we can hold off for the approval to the next meeting. So I'm just putting that out there as a suggestion. Because it seems that most people did not receive the minutes. And Tina says she's not sure if she got it. I mean, sorry, Talia was not sure whether she received the minutes either. So my recommendation is to hold off on the minutes for now and then resend them out. You know, really, to be honest with you, it's a very short, review. It's like one paragraph. And then afterwards, we can approve the minutes or make changes at the next meeting. Okay, unless there's a violation of the rule or something that I'm not aware of. So right now, I do not have the chairperson's reports because we haven't really started yet. This is brand new. We're just, beginning in its infancy. However, I do want to emphasize that we have a variety of people, a mixed representative. We have some from the referral service, from the commission, some represented from the community, some individuals working for different agencies. I myself am represented with RID. So there's a variety of stakeholders here. And there are some, policies involved, politics involved here. And so my goal is to put that aside in terms of our politics and to have an open and honest discussion. Now, you people know me and you know that, I'm not wishy-washy. I don't half-step. I'm very direct. I'm straightforward. And I always address the issues. That's how I roll. And feel free to speak to me because there's no insult here. Because we are all here for one purpose, so that we can improve the system. Okay, and we are all here, and our goal all together collaboratively is to support the community. And I'm hoping that we can all do that to make a positive change. So I think that's all for now. in terms of my comment.
Ernest has a comment. Would you like me to close the screen sharing so Ernest can share?
There's no interpreter on the screen at this time. So you'll have to, Bethany, you'll have to go ahead and repeat yourself again. Rain, do you want to repeat yourself? No. Bethany, you just made a comment saying that Ernest wanted to make a comment, but there was no interpreter on the screen at the time. So that's why I held Ernest off to wait for the interpreter so we can see you, Ernest. Okay, so now that we have you on the screen, you can go ahead. You now have the floor, Ernest. Go ahead. Yes. Good evening, everyone. You can send the minutes to the committee to review the minutes before the meeting. And also you can post the minutes during the meeting. And they can actually read the minutes during the meeting to approve right there and then. Those are two options. And you can actually do it even before the meeting as well. Just, a little bit before the meeting starts, you can send it to me. I can get it out to all the people that are coming. And then they can vote on it, and they can vote on the minutes, or they can post it there. So if they haven't had a chance to read it, they can read it during the meeting itself. Am I clear about that? Thank you, Ernest. I think I don't want to do that during the meetings because of the fact that it's very difficult for people to read the minutes and at the same time keep an eye on who's ever making a comment in sign language, or sometimes listening to any auditory comments that are being made. Okay, so this is a strong visual platform, so I'd rather keep that part after the meeting as opposed to putting in the reading of the minutes during the communication. Okay, but from this meeting, I can also send out 2 minutes at the same time. So for the next meeting, I can send out the minutes for this meeting and the previous meeting. Is that correct? And Ernest's response is, yes, you can. Go ahead, Tina. Okay, Tina's speaking now. Go ahead. Spotlight the interpreter, please, before Tina speaks. Thank you.
Is it my responsibility as I was the temporary note taker, but now it seems I'm taking notes tonight. Is it my role to send out the minutes to the committee, or? Yes. Okay. All right. I will do that next time. Sorry, people. Thank you.
We should switch interpreters too. Sorry. Rain says, well, I want to make sure that the minutes go out to everyone. And I thought it had. So that it wasn't just Tina, both of us did. I guess we were both confused and we didn't know. So we can send out the minutes of the prior meeting and tonight's meeting. And they could go in one email. People are saying they're getting a lot of email chains, so it'd be easier to try to combine those. They can catch it and they'll have both meetings minutes. Thank you, Ernest. Okay. So going back to the agenda, if you could screen share it.
Will do. Give me a second.
I know we're at unfinished business. Okay. Thanks everyone also for being patient with the way we're moving forward tonight. I think we're still getting used to turn taking and communication. It's a little different. I know it always is a little bit of a bother to get it ready, but we're on the 5th item, unfinished business. This is 5A. It was an item left over from last time. Ernest had sent out a PowerPoint, the PowerPoint that he used last time during his presentation. And we had documentation. There are documents from the RARAD and RAAD. Recommendations to the referral service that had been done in the past. So those should have been attached in one email, the PowerPoints and the documents, and also policy and procedures manual for the Rhode Island Interpretive Referral Service. Those three things. And I want to find out if people got those. That would have been sent out after the last meeting. 5B, Ernest had spoken about trying to get Massachusetts, Connecticut, well, Connecticut, maybe not now, but New Hampshire, Vermont information about their interpretive referrals so we can compare our process. It seems like that has not been received yet, or it didn't get sent out. Are there any discussion points about, or questions or comments about 5A related to the three documents that you would have gotten in the email, the PowerPoints that were shown at the last meeting, the RAD and RAAD documents? And we can also, we'll be discussing those ongoing and the current policies and procedures of the referral service for Rhode Island. Those topics will come up again over time, I'm sure, as we continue to meet. But if there's any comments about that right now.
I just wanted to let you know that I stopped the screen share so that people have the ability to pop up and be seen when you're asking for comments. And I can start it back up again when you want to share information from the agenda again.
Okay. I'm just checking in, seeing if anybody is making a comment. I don't see a comment, so let's move on to the new business items. So number 6A, it's actually a pretty simple point. The documents referring to this committee has called us an ad hoc. And that's a vague, it's just general ad hoc. And we were wondering if we could be more specific. And we proposed the name change. I think I proposed it, interpretive referral. But then the interpretive referral service themselves uses interpretive referral. So could it be interpretive referral ad hoc committee? I'll make a motion that we should be called referral service ad hoc committee. And if people could open up their videos so that we can vote on that. I know Tina said that she was leaving the screen, but she's back. Okay. So if everybody could open their screens right now, that would be great. Drew? Okay, great. And Amy? I'm sorry, Anne, excuse me, the interpreter made an error. Anne? If you could open your screen, Anne McDonald?
Anne is using the iPhone for her screen. She also just put in a comment. I asked her to open up her iPhone. We'll see. There she is. There we go.
All right. I will look at your comment and after. I see that you've written in the chat. But first, I wanted to ask how many people agree with the name change, interpreter referral ad hoc committee. If you prefer something else, we can vote on that. I see, can you please keep your hands up? I see Tina, Amy, let me count. Okay, true. And we can't see you. There you are. So, and did you put your hand up? Okay, your thumbs up. Natalia is saying, will it be interpreter service referral or interpreter referral? Interpreter referral service. Yes. The screens keep on moving when we're all open. Sorry, so it's hard to see when somebody starts to talk. It'll say interpreter referral service ad hoc committee. So, oh my gosh, no, that's not correct. That's not what I wanted to say. It'll be referral service because it's CART and interpreters. They refer both CART and interpreters. So they refer to themselves as referral service. So we can either say interpreter / CART referral service ad hoc committee, or just referral service ad hoc committee. Amy's saying the second one. It's shorter. So referral service ad hoc. Yes, Talia saying the second. True, the second. Okay. I see Ann, I see Amy, I see Talia. Yeah, the second one. Okay. It seems like everyone who is here tonight who can vote has said that they support that name change. Very good. It doesn't impact us that much, but it's just wording, and it's, we just want to be inclusive of deaf and hard of hearing people. Okay, very good. So we finished that item. Is any other discussion? If other people do not want to add anything, you can turn off your cameras now. Okay. So I noticed Ann's comment that she put in the chat. She said that the referral service, I see, she added referral service being the name change because it incorporates the idea of CART and interpreters, ASL interpreters. Yes, I agree. And your other comment, let me read it. The point of Ann's comment seems to be that Massachusetts, Ann reviewed the Massachusetts Commission referral service, and there are things that we might be able to use that would help us improve our services. And I think that that should be on our list of resources, things that we could take advantage of, different issues that we identify within our referral service, and then all the different resources and options that are available out there that we could recommend to the commission. Because I think you're right, the Mass Commission is larger and it's been established for a long time. They serve more people. And there are many things that we could use that would benefit us. Okay, very good. If we could go back to the agenda again, thank you. So we have approved the name change. 6B is actually the meat of this meeting. This committee is to discuss what are the current issues with the referral service. And I think it's challenging because we're going to be opening up our videos. It would be nice if we could see everyone so we could have an open discussion, but understanding the access issues, I think what could happen would be anyone who wants to speak and make a comment. If you have something that you've had from your own experience or something you've noticed within the referral service, or another deaf and hard of hearing person in the community has communicated that to you. So it could be something from your own observation, from your own work, or your role out in the community. You might be deaf and hard of hearing yourself, and you might have seen this occur. You could be involved with RID or RIAD or other agencies, and you've heard of this. Anything that you've noticed that has occurred. Especially if it's not a one-time thing. If it's a pattern of a gap in services or consumers being frustrated about the lack of service. So again, it's you yourself or other people, something that's systemic that has happened over and over again over time. If anybody would like to make a comment, we can open up the screens, make the comment, and then we'll record those. We're again looking for patterns. We're looking for things that occur again and again. We'll collect those, and then we decide how we want to collect information from the outside community as well. Drew? And wait, I think we should spotlight you, Drew. Yes. Drew says there's a lot of things that are coming to mind. One is from my own personal experiences. What I've noticed is when I've used interpreters in the past, like, if I say to the doctor's office, you need to make a request, they make the request, but then they don't know how to follow up. And so what ends up happening is I don't have the information. I haven't called, they've called. And so then I am waiting until the day before, let's say, before my appointment, kind of hoping that things are still on and that I have an interpreter. And what I realize is if I talk to them, I might have a profile at the Rhode Island Commission. I might have a preferred interpreter, but there's no process for me to tell the doctor what that is. The doctor doesn't know what the process is. So they don't know what to do. They have not been educated. And what that is a pattern about the interpreter shows up and it's not somebody who I'd be comfortable with, but we're here at the doctor's appointment and I have no choice at that moment. So the interpreter might approach me and we'll have the appointment. And then there's no idea of how to follow up. I know about the grievance procedure, but I don't know if it's accessible and clear. Maybe I only know the interpreter's first name. I don't know their full name. And it's an awkward situation. Like one example I had with an interpreter at an appointment. This person actually gave me unwanted medical advice to try to change my decision about what I was doing with my own body, my own child. And I don't know how to give that kind of feedback. I've talked to other friends and they know that has happened to them as well. Some friends might be good friends with that specific interpreter and they'll say, I want that interpreter. And that way they avoid having this other interpreter. But I've noticed that there's a lot of issues because the grievance procedure being, there's holes in it. I think it's a challenge right now with the referral service. There is only one person working there. So they're making that decision and they're also trying to manage the grievances. It should be a different function, a different role. Because if there was a process and it's a challenge having the same person deal with both, it should be a neutral person. So that's something that has occurred to me. Yes, thank you. Good, that's very clear, Drew. And we'll all take turns, and obviously you can add more afterwards as well. I see Talia, if you wouldn't mind spotlighting Talia. Thank you. Okay. I have two different issues that have arisen. One is, I've noticed that there's a policy, and I'm not with the MPA, the Master Price Agreement. So let's say I'm at Rhode Island College and I need an interpreter, and the interpreter, they need to be associated with the MPA. There's only a limited list of interpreters. And if that list is not available, then I'm stuck. If I want another interpreter, but they're not on the MPA, I can't use that other interpreter. It's very frustrating for me because it limits the amount of interpreters, the number of interpreters I can use for my classes. That's one item. The second is there are some doctors' offices in DCYF, they'll tend to use the same interpreter all the time. So if I tell them, let's say at the doctor's, I want an appointment on that specific date and time, they'll tell me, well, that doesn't fit the interpreter's schedule. And I'm like, well, no, it's my appointment, not the interpreter's appointment. And the doctor's office very often will state that the interpreter has said that we have to abide by their schedule, but the interpreter should not be making that decision. I think a lot of providers feel like they have to use that one interpreter and then go by their schedule. And they don't realize there are other interpreters available. That really bothers me. And that happens with DCYF as well. I have seen a lot of times clients or consumers who need an interpreter for DCYF, and DCYF is only using one interpreter. It's like there's no other interpreter that they think is even ever available, and that's not fair. Very good, thank you. That's clear. Ernest, I see you. If we could wait till you're spotlighted, yes. Very good. So I have three items I wanted to mention. One is Drew's comment about the grievance procedure is very, very clear. We do have licensure in Rhode Island, and with licensure, we have a grievance form. If people feel like the interpreter made an error, you can use that form. And to be clear, we don't manage grievances at the commission office. The Department of Health does that because licensure is under them. So this happened to me at one point where an interpreter broke the code of ethics and affected my assignment. And I filed a grievance under the Department of Health. I filled out the paperwork, and after the discussion, we were able to have a review. So if Drew wants to file something, it's through the licensure under the Department of Health. If you look there at the bottom, it has the item where you fill out what happened, what the situation was, and the licensure board, the board of evaluation, would review your comments, contact the different parties involved, and ask for more information, and then they would follow up. They're responsible for interpreter licenses, not under the Rhode Island Commission for the Deaf and Hard of Hearing. It is the Department of Health. So you have to tell them and they will follow up. They can collect information from all the parties involved related to the complaint. And if the interpreter is shown to be, subpar, they would correct that. Sorry, Rain is saying, I'm sorry to interrupt you, but I did want to clarify something. I think it's very important to have open conversation with the responses. It should be a safe place for people to express their experiences. So if somebody has a misunderstanding about it, I think that is not something we want to discuss right now. We don't need to say, oh, that wasn't good information or that's incorrect. I think that, the commission can give that kind of feedback, but I think right now, the committee needs to just brainstorm on these different topics and have an open dialogue about it. Looking for patterns, because if there's a lot of people, let's say, who are saying that the grievance situation is awkward, that's food for thought. You know, the information is not available to them. So I don't think you need to respond to these items if the information is incorrect. That's not appropriate at this time. If you wouldn't mind, Ernest, holding your comments, and then later we might have some questions about the process and we could discuss those things at the end. I just suggest that. I think it would also save time. I just want to gather as many comments and concerns as possible right now. So I did want to share one thing. I did get from some of the requests that I receive about interpreter availability. Some interpreters aren't available. And people are asking for interpreters and there are no interpreters available at that specific time. And people are telling me, I went to an assignment and there was no interpreter available. We are looking for the interpreters and they're not available. So when the request gets made, I don't know, you know, I think people feel that the interpreters don't want to work with that consumer perhaps, or the consumer might get a sense of that, but it's really, I just want people to understand that the interpreter availability is so limited. And we're going to switch interpreters. If one moment.
Okay, Amy, first of all, I want to make a comment and then I'll turn it over to you. So Ernest, your last comment when you speak about the interpreter's availability, that's not really a point of discussion for this committee. The committee is really focusing currently right now on our agenda to speak about identifying issues with the referral process. Availability of the interpreters, or if the interpreters don't show up, those are separate issues. So I think we have to, you know, be very careful how we respond to these questions. The point is that for me, I value the feedback from the deaf and hard of hearing people and the stakeholders in the community, because the community wants to provide feedback and the committee are here because of that. And we want to provide that opportunity for them to give their feedback so we can improve the services. Now, when we start speaking about, well, this and that, we start making excuses, that's gonna, you know, make people refrain from expressing themselves in terms of what they see as issues. So I think we should hold off on that. We can talk about these things related to the issues of interpreters, but this is not really the platform to do that. We could talk about how the referral handles those unethical behaviors about interpreters, that we could, if the committee feels that it's, you know, worthy to speak about during this platform. So I want to be clear about that. Availability, no. Okay, would you mind spotlighting Amy, please? Thank you. Thank you, Rain. Let me know when you want me to stop. I have a few things to say. Okay. The community that requests, you know, they make the request most of the time. And what I've experienced is that they have to hold off, because I've experienced this myself. Now, the interpreter was with me and I asked the doctor to confirm with the commission, the same interpreter. They never heard back from the commission when I requested that specific interpreter, whatever. I don't hear back from them. So that has happened to me. Now, DCYF uses just one interpreter. This one interpreter, you know, they never make a request for an interpreter. They use this one interpreter. Now, I advocate for that. And sometimes I would say it has to be a CDI, a deaf interpreter. Now, DCYF is an area where, you know, they are expanding their pool of interpreters. And I think the commission really needs to work with the agency of DCYF directly and collaborate with them, because these two agencies need to work together to better approach this situation. The next item I would like to bring up, the third one. Some people who request an interpreter for a medical appointment or for any appointment, they're not familiar with the process. And they're also not, familiar with the person who has more access, like the deaf interpreter, tactile interpreter. So they don't know the ins and outs of the various skill sets of these interpreters to pick an interpreter that's appropriate for their client. So many people, throughout the state of Rhode Island are going through this. And we need to really include deaf interpreters in this process. The fourth one, people are complaining that, there's no access to make the complaint. They refer us to the Department of Health, please. That's so challenging for us to take our issues to the Department of Health about interpreters. We're struggling with access to communication, language barriers, people coming in from another country, international, and ASL is not their primary language. So a lot of them are complaining to me or to other people that are providing interpreters and saying, listen, you're providing interpreters, we don't understand these interpreters. Lastly, the commission blames deaf people for the interpretive process. Now, unfortunately, that is one thing that makes me really, really disappointed with the commission. It's no fault of the people in the community. Do not blame the people in the community. Okay, we in the community are looking for help. We in the community are looking for advocacy. We in the community are looking for, and then turn around to blame us when we have these needs. That's not okay with the community. And that hurts the deaf community. The deaf community is suffering throughout the state of Rhode Island, in the court system, in the system of DCYF, in police matters, in academic situations, and many situations. We all have these various problems. Okay? No, thank you, Amy. Appreciate that. Another comment. Anybody who has not had the opportunity to make a comment, does somebody want to make a comment? Or if anybody who has made a comment would like to make an additional comment, please feel free to do so at this time. Spotlight Amy again, please. Yes, in medical appointments lately, people have referred community members from VOCA. Okay, that's one of the agencies that I work for. And I have to basically teach them how to empower them, how to make these requests for interpreters. So you have to tell your doctor this. So I'm educating people and they're saying no, but they have to be reminded in the office about the ADA. And why are we responsible for that? We shouldn't be. Okay, but I'm empowering them, but I want people to be empowered. Yes, so I want to clarify this, okay? So in reference to your comment, Amy, to see if I understand you correctly, you're saying that you work at VOCA and other people tell the people in the deaf community members saying, all those people they're referring them back to VOCA. Is that what you're saying? They're pushing it back on VOCA? Sometimes they do. Okay, so VOCA feels that they are obligated to teach them how to advocate for themselves and empower them, to educate them how they have to speak to the doctors and their practitioners to request for interpreters and so forth. Is that what you're referring to? Yes. Okay, so that seems to be related to more of the advocacy from the referrals. No. My point is, Rain, is that I can teach empowerment in terms of their experiences, but I'm getting more and more requests of how to request interpreters, and what are my rights and so forth. Okay, so deaf people are looking for their rights and how to request interpreters. Okay, I need a clarification on it. Thank you. Now I understand. So the commission, in other words, what can the commission do to help these matters in those situations? Yes, because I want the commission to basically teach them advocacy, okay? Because they already extra the email when they send the request to Holly, for referral to say, and then, I don't want to mention anybody's name specifically, I'm sorry, but the person is saying, I sent an email, I'm requesting, but I can't force anyone to respond to the emails. So I said, listen, you need to speak to your doctor then. So call your doctor. So I'm trying to teach people how to redirect their request. Lack of knowledge in terms of the protocol and procedures and what it looks like. Specifically, people don't know how to make these requests, where to look for that information, how to advocate for themselves, how to make these requests. Yes, but it's really about self-empowerment. Thank you for clarifying that, Amy. Talia? I also want to add something to that. Sure, go ahead. I've noticed that there are some issues with the health insurance as well, because the health insurance feels, that they're obligated and they're willing to bring in interpreters. However, many of the doctor's offices feel that if our insurance company is paying for the interpreter services, then we are responsible to bring our own interpreters because the health insurance is covering it. And but they don't understand that a lot of insurance agencies don't have interpreters to refer there directly. So the deaf person feels that if the insurance company doesn't make the referral for the interpreter, then it's upon the patient to make the referral, bring their own interpreter. So if there was something where maybe the commission can partner with the insurance companies to educate the insurance companies how to request interpreters through the insurance company, through the commission, they can do that, but it doesn't fall back on the patients. Okay, but the doctors need to realize that it's their responsibility to provide the interpreters through the insurance company. So I think I know what you mean. So for example, you go to a doctor's office, you have an appointment, say, listen, I need an interpreter. And the doctor says, yes, oh, you need an interpreter? Okay, so they feel that that's the insurance company's responsibility to do that to get the interpreter, correct? Right. But the insurance company doesn't know how to do that. But if the doctor's appointment, you can basically say yes, and then you can give them the contact information, say you contact the Rhode Island Commission for the Deaf. Okay, but then how are they going to get that information to the insurance company? Just because they don't know how to make that connection between the insurance company and the request for the interpreter commission? No, because many of the doctor's offices feel that it's the insurance company's responsibility to do that, and therefore they don't want to get involved with the process. They say, you're the one who needs the interpreter, so you need to go to the insurance company. But I think the doctors and practitioners need to realize that the ADA is part of their responsibility, where it's incumbent upon them to get the interpreters and not us as patients. So you want some advocacy in terms of partnerships with the commission to speak with the insurance companies so that they can have a clear process of understanding of how to secure an interpreter for medical appointments, even though the insurance company will pay for it. Yes. Sometimes the insurance company doesn't give that information in terms of medical provider. And if we can't bring in an interpreter, then you have to do it yourself, speaking to the practitioners. And then what they do, instead of going about it and being positive about getting an interpreter, they reschedule the appointment. Okay, and then it makes it look like that they put it back on us. So the appointment never takes place. So they're reluctant to do anything about it, so they just reschedule the appointment, still leaving it upon you to take it up with the insurance company. Thank you for that clarification. We forgot to take a break right now, and I apologize about that. Do you want to take a quick break, or do you want to continue going on? Anybody want to vote on that? Okay, Drew says we should keep on going. Okay, I agree. All right, and Amy agrees as well. So we'll continue with the meeting, okay, and we'll do a little bit wrap up, and worst comes to worst, we'll finish a little early. Okay, please, and then next time in the future, please remind me about the break when we're halfway through the meeting. Thank you. Okay. Any other comments from the committee members? In terms of identifying issues? Spotlight Tina, please.
I'll let the interpreter, please.
I'm sorry, Spotlight Simon, go ahead.
Thanks.
Yes, go ahead. I'll keep quiet.
Okay. One of the things that has come up for me over and over again as an interpreter, listening to deaf clients, is that they say, the commission said nobody's available. Sometimes that's not on the commission, but it's on the interpreter who, it used to be that there would be an email list that came out that would get emailed to all the interpreters. And if I didn't read that email at the end of the day, if I was really busy up until bedtime, I went to bed, I didn't even look at the list. So I didn't know there were available appointments that I could have taken. And now it's on USCED, it's on the scheduling system that we have to go in and look to see what's available to pick it up. So I just want to put that out there, that needs to somehow be fixed. That it's not necessarily that no one's available, it's that no one checked the list. No one checked USCED to see if there was a job available, because maybe my schedule is already full, but maybe I just forgot to look at the list that day. And so I feel bad, but sometimes I don't always look at the available jobs to pick them up. And sometimes I guess things go uncovered.
Okay, so to respond to that, I'm a little confused. Tina, I don't know, maybe you can explain and clarify that. Okay, I'm a freelance interpreter as well. And you work more freelancing in Rhode Island than I do. But if I don't look at the list, or I don't look at USCED, so the commission is looking for interpreter because I'm not looking at USCED, or I might be busy, or whatever the case may be, or I may not be available. Okay, so they call that as interpreters not being available? Is that what you're referring to? Okay, it's not a question. Okay. So the interpreters are basically classified as not available because they didn't read the USCED or whatever the case may be. However, the interpreter could be available, and yet at the same time, they're not available. So I'm wondering if the issue is more about the deaf perspective of the terminology of not available, quote unquote. For me, sometimes what I've noticed is that a deaf individual, okay, so the screens are moving around a little bit. Okay, so if a deaf individual says that there's no interpreter available, I say to myself, that's funny, I'm available. So when I look at USCED, there's nothing there. There was nothing sent to me. That's the problem. Okay, I see that happening from time to time with the referral. Okay, because before it was done by email. And if I didn't get an email, then I wouldn't notice about that. So when they say there's no interpreters available, I'm a little confused because I didn't get the email. So I'd say, wait a minute. So I look at my email and then let me check. I look, I mean, it could happen because I overlooked the email. But the commission still, they call that not available. So they label it as not available, you know, so really they could be available. So I think we need to, you know, talk about the terminology of the language, you know, perspective in terms of those reading not available, like not available, and those who didn't read their email, et cetera. There needs to identify the difference. Maybe we could be a little bit more clear with the deaf community in the terminology. Maybe that could be something we could discuss. You know, more or less navigating, being more transparent in the process with the community of what the process looks like. Because deaf people out there in the community, they don't really know the process of the interpreter referral service. They may be unaware of it, of what it looks like. Okay, so that may be part of the issue as well. Are there any other comments at this time from any of the committee members? Spotlight Amy, please. Thank you. I'm trying to think how I should word this. Yes, I understand in terms of not available and what it looks like. If an interpreter just needs a day to themselves, or maybe they don't want to work that, day. And I respect that. But one thing that I've noticed with the request is when it's a direct appointment, because I've made direct appointments myself directly, or deaf people have told me they're starting to do that now. They have a relationship with an interpreter and they will reach out to that interpreter directly. So maybe we need to reassess the terminology or the wording of that, of not available. What I'd like to see a little bit more of is a little bit more motivation from the referral service. Because when you just say there's no interpreters available, it's time to think outside the box. Be creative. Find different ways to find different strategies, how to move interpreters around, especially for those who are willing to be moved around. I know it's not an easy task of being a coordinator to do that and stuff, but still, we need to be creative. We need to use different strategies. That's important, to think outside the box, because I think that could work if we change our paradigm shift of how we strategize. Okay, because if we have one interpreter that's, I'm sorry, back up. I missed you. You froze up on my end. Your last comment. My point is that when we talk about strategy, the strategy is how to move interpreters around. So if, for example, we speak about a legal interpreter who goes to a job that's really a non-legal assignment, an emergency comes up, and there's another interpreter that is available that's not legally qualified, they can make a swap. You see what I'm saying? Because sometimes a legal, we can switch. Those are strategies where you can move a legal interpreter to a non-legal interpreter to do assignment that doesn't require a legal certification. Okay. And so that's one way of thinking outside the box. I think it's important to be creative how we move interpreters around with flexibility. Did I make myself clear? Yes, you did, Amy. Thank you. I know that for the sake of time, Talia, you'd like to make a comment? Go ahead. Spotlight Talia, please. Thank you. My experience with interpreting services is that, well, let's suppose that I request for an interpreter. Some of the interpreters say that they didn't receive my request. Okay, so maybe the email didn't go out to all the interpreters. Maybe it only went out to specifically a few interpreters. I know there's some ongoing, issues where some interpreters did not get the email. You're talking about the preferred list. They didn't get it. Exactly. Okay. Because we're running short on time right now, I would like to offer this last opportunity. We can continue this discussion, but if anybody wants to make a comment at this time, I hope that it's specifically related to this committee. Okay. So we're not going to continue because of the shortness. We will continue if we need to. Okay. I would like to continue this discussion. But for this evening, are there any last comments If not, then I'm going to open it up for public comment. It seems that no one from the committee has any more comments related to our topic. Okay, I will now turn it over to public comment at this time for the second opportunity. Anyone in the public would like to make a comment? Bonnie Kaplan? Go ahead, Bonnie. You know, the comments that I've heard tonight, make me think. And I'm beginning to realize, or I should say, I get the feeling that the commission sometimes doesn't want to take responsibility to serve the community. Now, in reference to what Amy just said about consumers contacting us to help them advocate for their medical appointments. And these are the people that are not victims. Okay. So having said that, there are other situations where a person would contact us and they would want help with their unemployment issues. Again, they are not a victim of our agency. And I would ask them, say, well, how did you know about us here at the Tri-County program? And they would say, oh, the commission told me to recall you. I'm like, what? So I'm a little baffled. Well, I'm a little surprised. I tried to really be nice about it and say, oh, I'm sorry, they told you to contact us? Okay, sure, I'll help you. So for that moment, I helped them. But after those two situations that came up, I'm beginning to wonder what's going on. Why isn't the commission helping these people and instead referring them to reach out to other agencies? Okay, so now, they have a mission statement that they are all about access to communication, right? After all, that's why the existence of the commission exists and is in place. So I'm a little baffled that they are not practicing what their mission states. Because people are contacting us when they are non-victims. So I'm going to emphasize, we never turn anyone away. We always help everyone, whether they're a victim or not. But again, at the same time, I have to emphasize that our program is to serve people who are victims. Now, if they happen to have, us in the future and they need us for, our services, or they know of friends or family that might need our services, please get in touch with us. I do say that to them. But having said that, I'm wondering if the commission needs to revisit their statement and clean it up, because it's very misleading about how they provide services that don't coincide with their statement. Thank you, Bonnie. So Bethany, if you don't mind, would you pull up the agenda, please? On the share screen. Thank you. So I just want to review that for the wrap up. Okay, so we're supposed to pick a date and time for the next meeting. Do you still want to do it approximately every 3 weeks? Can I have a show of hands on that, please? Spotlight Amy again, please. Go ahead, Amy. Can we all open up our cameras for this part right here? I prefer not to use, Doodle. Okay, so I think that would be better for everybody else, because I know for the sake of time, we need to go get this rolling? You want everyone to open up their cameras, right? Okay, but then that means that when I make a comment, my screen is going to be reduced. Do you know what I'm saying? If we all open up our cameras. So if we all open up our cameras, let's get and do that. Hold on one second. I got to go to gallery view. Hold on one second. Okay.
If everyone sets themselves to gallery view, you should be able to see everyone's.
Okay. So do all of us want to continue this meeting in 3 weeks from now? That would be the week of May the 10th. Yes, Tina. I thought they said that somebody might have said that Thursday night might be a good, well, for me, I'm Drew. This is Drew speaking. I know for me, unfortunately, you got me tonight, but most Thursdays are not good for me. Callie is saying the same thing. Thursday nights are not also good for me. Okay, so we have 3 people that it's not good for on Thursday nights. Okay, so I will set up a doodle poll. Previously, I did set up on a doodle poll. And I remember that some people said that Thursday night was not a good night. So I moved to what was available. And it just turned out to be for this week, Thursday was a popular night. But I do recall that everybody said Thursday nights in general was not a good evening. So for me personally, what about Monday the 10th? Is Monday a good night? Is it better? Is it worse? How do you feel about that? The 10th, Monday the 10th is good. I'm waiting for Amy because I know Amy's busy right now at the moment. I'm so sorry. I missed what you said. Oh, I should ask my child about which date is best. Okay. I missed what you're May 10th. Oh, May 10th? Yeah, I think May 10th will work for me. Okay. And does May 10th work for you? Yes. Yes. Okay, good. So it seems Monday, May 10th looks good. How about the time? Should we keep the same time from 6 to 8? Okay, so that's good for me as well. Yes, Talia. It's Monday at 6. I can, but it's 7 o'clock. I'm going to have to leave early. That's okay. If you don't mind, I think that's fine with the rest of us if you have to leave at 7, because there's no minimum requirement of how many people have to be on the meeting. Okay. Of course, we want you to stay here, but if you have to go, you have to go. But if you need to leave early, that's okay. That's understandable. Okay. But, you know, if you want to change the time that suits you so you can be here for the entire meeting, we could do that as well. But it seems that Monday, we could try 5, but I know that might be a bad time for most of us because with our schedules, we're just getting home and so forth and getting off work and so forth. Yeah, I thought so. Okay, so we'll keep it at 6 o'clock, 6 to 8 on Monday the 10th. Now, Amy, you said that was good, correct? And did you say that was good? Monday the 10th from 6 to 8? Yes? Okay, good. Okay, so I will set that for Monday, the 10th, 6 to 8. If anything comes up between now and May 10th that you would like to share, like Ann, when you start looking at Massachusetts to see what's going on and something that you want to share with us, you can share that with the group. Okay, anyone who wants to share anything prior to the meeting can do that, but I would have to see that. Okay, and so that I can basically put that into the discussion. Okay, feel free to do so. And if any of you have any feedback about your preference of interpreters or trying to get a CDI for clarifying so forth, we will try to, get that. But because of tonight's notice, there wasn't enough notice for that. But I will, and see if we can go about that. You can speak directly to Ernest about that or myself and share the names that you would like to have. Okay. Any last comments just before, we're not finishing early, but we did finish 2 minutes early, but any last comments? Okay. All right, so I'd like to thank everyone for coming to tonight's meeting and for having this discussion. And I look forward to seeing everybody again on May the 10th. This meeting is officially now adjourned. Goodbye, everyone. Have a good evening.
Bethany, you'll